50 Cent was shot 9 times and lived to tell about it. But the bullets and publicity didn't make him rich. What made him rich was a great flavored drink that earned him more money in 3 years than his entire music career combined. We're talking about the vitamin water deal that netted him somewhere between $60 to $100 million. And check this, that was just the beginning. Here's how Curtis 50 Cent Jackson turned survival instincts from the streets of Queens into a business empire worth hundreds of $1,000,000. Let's start where most people know this story. In 2000, Curtis Jackson got shot 9 times at close range outside his grandmother's house in Queens. He survived, but Columbia Records dropped him immediately after. They didn't want to deal with a liability of a rapper who clearly had enemies willing to kill him. So there he was, shot, dropped from his label, and with no clear path forward in music. Most people would have given up, but 50 Cent spent the next 3 years rebuilding himself physically, mentally, and musically. He flooded the underground circuit with mixtapes, which caught the ears of Eminem, and in 2003, he dropped the classic Get Rich or Die Trying. That album sold over 15 million copies worldwide and turned him into a global superstar. But here's what most people don't understand. 50 Cent didn't get rich from music. Well, at least not really. By 2004, 50 Cent was one of the biggest names in hip-hop. His manager at the time, Chris Lighty, had a specific philosophy about endorsement deals. He didn't want his clients taking flat fees for putting their faces on products. He wanted equity. He wanted ownership. And that mindset led the deal that changed 50 Cent's financial life forever. Here's how it went down. 50 Cent was filming a Reebok commercial, and at the end of the ad, he casually took a sip of vitamin water. It looked spontaneous, but it wasn't. His personal trainer had introduced him to the drink, and he genuinely liked it. More importantly, Chris Lighty knew that Ron Ortez, the brand manager for vitamin water, would be watching. He saw the commercial and noticed the product placement, so he reached out. And here's the smart part. Vitamin Water's headquarters happened to be in Queens, just a few blocks from where 50 Cent grew up. They had a meeting, and instead of asking for a standard endorsement fee, 50 Cent and Chris Lighty negotiated for equity in the company, plus a $5 million upfront payment. At the time, Vitamin Water was working on a new flavor. 50 Cent noticed they didn't have a great flavor, which was his favorite. So he put up the seed money to develop Formula 50, a great flavored vitamin water, in exchange for reportedly a 10% stake in the company. But there was a catch. He had until midnight to sign the contract or the deal was off. Because 50 Cent was performing on stage that night, his friend James Cruz had to run into the venue parking lot, grab the contract from a vitamin water executive, run back to 50 Cent to sign, and hand it back just in time. When 50 Cent signed the deal back in 2004, Vitamin Water was doing about $100 million in annual sales. 3 years later, with 50 Cent all over their marketing, sales had skyrocketed to $700 million. Then in May 2007, Coca-Cola bought Vitamin Water for $4.1 billion. Initial reports claimed that 50 Cent made $400 million from the sale, based on the supposed 10% stake in the business. But the number was inflated. After accounting for other investors who had to be paid first, 50 Cent actually walked away with somewhere between $60 to $100 million after taxes. Even on a lower end, that's more money than he made from his entire music career up to that point. On his next album, 50 Cent rapped about the deal. He's quoted, "I took quarter water, sold it for bottles for $2. Coca-Cola came and bought it for billions. What the f?" I'm sure you know the song. He could barely believe it himself. And neither could the rest of the music industry. The Vitamin Water deal became a blueprint for how artists could build real wealth, not through royalties or album sales, but through equity and ownership. Building a television empire. 50 Cent didn't stop with Vitamin Water. He kept expanding. He launched clothing, he started records, and built a roster of successful artists. He invested in Effin' Vodka and later into his own spirits brand, Branson Cognac. But the next major move was television. In 2014, 50 Cent pitched a show called Power to every major network. Every single one said no. They didn't believe a crime drama centered around a black drug dealer trying to go legitimate will work out. Finally, Stars gave him a shot. And here's the crazy part. 50 Cent was making just $17,000 per episode to act in the show, executive produce it, and basically serve as the music supervisor. That's pennies compared to what he could have demanded given his fame. But 50 Cent saw Power as an investment. He knew if the show worked, it would lead to bigger deals down the line. And he was right. Power became a massive hit for Stars. It ran for 6 seasons from 2014 to 2020 and spawned multiple spinoffs. Power Book 2, Ghost, Power Book 3, Raising Kanan, and Power Book 4, Force. At one point, Power shows were driving 25% of all demand on Stars. That's an insane number for one franchise. In 2018, after Power provided his value, 50 Cent signed a 4-year overall deal with Starz worth up to $150 million. That deal included a 3-series commitment, a dedicated development executive, and a discretionary fund for developing new projects. The CEO of Starz called it one of the most significant deals for an executive producer in premiere television history. 50 Cent also produced Black Mafia Family, a series about a drug empire run by Big Meech, which became another hit for Starz. By 2023, he had the number 1, 2, 3, and 4 top television shows in African American and Latino households. But by that time, he was publicly feuding with Starz over how they handled his shows. He said he regretted doing business with them and announced he wouldn't bring any new shows to the network once his deal was up. In February 2023, 50 Cent signed a new multi-million-dollar deal with Fox to develop scripted dramas, comedies, and animated series. The Power franchise had proven that he could build hit television shows, and now he was moving to a bigger platform with more resources. So what's the lesson in all of this? 50 Cent's entire business strategy came down to 3 things: equity over cash, long-term thinking, and betting on himself. When most artists were taking endorsement checks and spending them, 50 Cent was negotiating for ownership. He didn't need the money immediately from Vitamin Water. He wanted a stake in the company. So when it grew, he grew with it. That decision to take equity instead of a flat fee is what turned a beverage endorsement into a 9-figure payday. The same thing happened with Power. He could have demanded more money up front to act and produce the show, but he took a smaller paycheck early on because he believed the show would succeed and lead to bigger opportunities. And it did. That initial $17,000 per episode turned into a $150 million overall deal once Power proved its value. 50 Cent also talks about this in his interviews. When people were focused on how much money he made from Vitamin Water deal sales, he was focused on the fact that $4.1 billion was made total. His mindset wasn't just about cashing out. It was about understanding how big deals get done and positioning himself to do even bigger ones in the future. Today, 50 Cent's net worth sits around $100 million. That might seem lower than you expected, given the Vitamin Water windfall and Starz deal, but he filed for bankruptcy in 2015 after raking up $36 million in debt from lawsuits and bad investments. That bankruptcy was strategic. It allowed him to restructure his finances while protecting his assets. And since then, he's rebuilt. He's self-financed world tours that grossed over $100 million. He's developed the real estate and studio projects in Shreveport, Louisiana. He's now also producing television content for Fox. He's continued to invest in spirits, real estate, and other ventures that gave him ownership and long-term upside. 50 Cent's story isn't about surviving 9 bullets or selling millions of albums. It's about understanding that real wealth comes from ownership. It's about being willing to take less money up front if it means getting equity that could be worth way more down the line. And it's about playing a long game, even when everyone else is focused on quick cash. So which move do you think was more important in 50 Cent's empire? The Vitamin Water deal or the Power franchise? And what do you think he should do next? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more content on how you can build wealth based off of these power moves, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. Peace.